So we've got a 25-minute flow here, and I will just be talking you through some of the cues and things to think about as we go through. I cycled up here today, so for a bit of a warm-up, so make sure you get a bit of a warm-up in, a few squats, a few jump lunges, just to get your heart rate up, and this will help with your stretching, it will loosen up the muscles, increase the viscosity of the joints, and you'll just have a much better session. So I'm starting with a downward dog, pumping out the calves a little bit here just to release a bit of the tension. So the idea here is to drive your chest through towards your knees. With all of these stretches, you want to use your breathing, so take a big deep breath in through your nose, and as you exhale, relax and drive your chest towards your knees. From here we're going into upward facing dog, so driving the hips into the floor and getting a little bit of rotation through the spine. We're going to go back and forth here for 2 or 3 reps, really taking our time, driving the chest through towards the knees and then driving the hips into the floor. Each time you go into downward dog, try and get your heels a bit closer to the floor and your knees a bit straighter. After your last downward dog, you're going to slowly and quietly bring your right leg up towards your hands. Then from here, use your breathing, inhale deep through the nose, and as you exhale, drop that inside elbow towards the floor. Here, with that inside arm next to the foot that's up, you're going to point up to the sky and follow it with your eyes. Trying to get a little bit of rotation through the thoracic spine. Then from here we're going to sit back, lifting the toe up towards our face. Take a bit of time to play around with the direction of your foot, facing inside and outside, to just sort of rule out any sort of tightness. It's hard to see here, but I'm just using my hand to twist it side to side. Then here, you just swivel on your back foot, bringing your left knee out to the side. From here, take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you exhale, drop your chest towards the floor. At this point, just work your way around to different points, like you're moving around a clock. You should feel this on the inside of your stretched out leg as well as the other one. If it's overly tight on the stretched out leg, just make sure you use your elbow to push out the other side. So here we're going into a quad stretch, reaching back and grabbing with the opposite arm of the leg that's being stretched. Make sure with this that you set your hips, so bring them forwards, imagine like you're tucking your tail between your legs, drive your hips forwards, and then sink into the stretch, driving your hips forwards and pulling your foot towards your bum. So here I'm going to use what's called proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, which is basically just a fancy word for helping you stretch more. So what you do is drive your foot hard against your hand, so you're really trying to push your hand away as hard as possible, and then after a few seconds, relax back into the stretch, and what's called autogenic inhibition will allow you to stretch further. At the same time, actively contracting your glute will allow the quad and hip flexor to stretch even more via reciprocal inhibition. So from here, stretch out that front leg with your toe pointing up towards your face, and then reach over with your left hand to put it on the floor to stabilize you so that you can reach around with your opposite hand and point up towards the sky for a little bit of thoracic mobility. Okay, so without changing too much, you're just coming forward into a kneeling position, so both legs are at 90 degrees and your knees are in line with your hips at hip width apart. Set your hips forwards by tucking your tail between your legs and making sure those ribs don't flare out. From this position, reach up, grab your hands overhead and lean towards the leg that's out in front of you. This is great for hitting your TFL, which is connected to your IT band, which can often get really tight with running and things like that. So from that position there, we're just moving that front foot, oh we got a friend, move that front foot over to the left hand side, and then we're going to try and bring that shin down so that it's in line parallel with our shoulders. So this is called a pigeon stretch, and you should feel it through your glute. So everyone will be at a different stage with this, but I use my left hand to hold my foot in place so it doesn't slip back towards me. This keeps my shin parallel to my shoulders, and then I use my other hand to press my knee down to the floor. Instead of curling over and hunching towards your front foot, sit up tall, breathe in through your nose, fill your lungs, and then keeping a nice straight back, lower your whole torso down towards the floor. This will give you a better stretch and will have better posture. Be sure to really utilize your breathing, so as you exhale, you relax deeper into the stretch, just allowing yourself to kind of slowly get deeper and deeper. So we're going to step back into downward dog, pressing our chest through towards our knees. This time hopefully our knees are a little bit straighter and heels are a little bit close to the floor. Going to get 2 or 3 goes through, pushing into upward and then downwards dog. Take your time with this, use your breathing. From here, we're going to step our other leg up nice and quietly and go through the exact same flow with this leg. So here we're letting that back knee drop and then keeping our both legs in line with our hips. We're going to drop that inside elbow down towards the floor as we exhale. Here we can slowly transition back, pointing our toe up towards our face, and here you can see a little bit better, twisting that foot inside to outside, really trying to sort of tease out any specific tight areas. So here you can see I'm resetting my posture, taking a deep breath in and then exhaling again. So same again, that back toe, just swivel it around inside, and then swivel your knee round as far as you can stick it out to the side, and you should feel this down the inside of your straight leg as well as the inside of your bent leg. Like I said before, if you can only feel it on the straight leg, use your elbow to push that bent leg out a little bit more, so it's kind of evening out the stretch between the two. Then again, we're going to reach round at different points of the clock, just teasing out all of the tight areas. Now swivel back into your half kneeling position, so knees and toes are in line with hips, on like hip width train tracks. Then from here we're going into another quad stretch. So the first one we're just going to do normally, using our breathing. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. then we'll make use of that proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, driving our foot hard into our hand, slowly build this up, so go like 60%, 70%, 80%, and then 100%, and then relax into the stretch, squeeze the glute behind you, and exhale, and you should be able to go much further than you did on the first try. Then sit back, straighten out that front leg, point your toe up towards your face, and then with your opposite hand you're reaching over, either just on the inside or just on the outside of that straight leg, and with the other arm you're pointing up towards the sky and following it with your eye. After a few rotations, we're going to sit back into 90-90 position with knees and toes on hip width train tracks. Then we're going to set our hips, so bring your pelvis forwards like you're tucking your tail between your legs. Bring those ribs down so they're not flaring out. Then we're going to reach up overhead and lean over towards on the left hand side. You'll feel this pulling that TFL on your right hip, which connects into the IT band and gets really tight with running and change direction, as well as cycling and repetitive tasks. So from here we're going to bring that front foot across, sort of in line with the other knee, and then set our shin up so it's parallel with our shoulders. From here we're going to hold that foot down, and then with the other hand hold the knee down, and then we're going to take a deep breath in through the nose and straighten up our torso, sitting up nice and high. You can see I'm resetting here, in through the nose, and then as you exhale you're lowering down to the floor as one flat sort of plank, your whole torso as a flat plank, belly towards the floor. Reset again with a big deep breath and dropping back down into that stretch, really relaxing as you exhale. Okay, so we're going to slowly unwind out of the pigeon stretch and step back into one more downwards dog, exhaling as you drive your chest towards your knees. Okay, here we're going to set up seated on our knees. Ideally our feet are facing straight back behind us. Mine are a little bit twisted in towards each other. So this is called child's pose. You're gonna reach forward as far as you can and then walk your hands over to one side. So walking over towards the left. So walk your fingers up as far as you can reach them. Inch them up. And then from here we're gonna take big deep breaths into our lungs. And as you do that, you'll feel all your ribs on that right hand side stretch out and open up as your lungs fill that space. We're going to go for a few breaths and then walk over to the right hand side. Do the same again. So inching our fingers up as far as possible, and then breathe in nice deep breaths as you feel that whole left side now open up and stretch out those intercostal muscles in your ribs. Go for a few nice deep breaths. So now we're going to lie flat on our bellies Stick out left arm about 90 degrees perpendicular to your shoulders, and right hand pressing into the floor. Then with your right leg you're going to swing it back behind you, and you should feel this stretch all that chest muscles and your pectorals on your left hand side, as well as your thoracic spine a little bit depending on your mobility. And we're going to switch sides, so stick your right hand out about 90 degrees, left hand pressing into the floor, left leg swinging around behind you as a counterbalance. From here we're going to go into what's called a matrix. So from press up position, step your left foot inside your right foot, and then swivel round on your heels till your feet are flat on the floor, and drive your hips up towards the sky. Then we're going to come back into press up position, same with the other side, so right foot under left foot, swivel round on your heels till your feet are flat on the floor, and then drive those hips up towards the sky. Swivel round for one more on the other side. We're really trying to open up the chest now, so that other arm is swinging all the way across. So not only are our hips driving to the sky, but now also our tummy and our chest. We'll feel that really stretch out the pectorals and the thoracic spine. Last one on the other side, same again. Getting a little bit more rotation now, spinning those hips and chest all the way around. From here we're going to get a nice wide stance. Take a big deep breath in through your nose, and as you exhale you're going to lower your torso down in between your legs and just hang really heavy. Imagine you've got really heavy arms, really heavy head, just dangling. Have a few breaths here, big breath in, big breath out. And from here what we're going to do is come over into a side lunge. So everyone will be at a different point and a different level of flexibility with this. I struggle on my left side a bit more than my right due to the ankle mobility, but this is fine if you can't get all the way down. You can use your hands on the floor or holding something in front of you so that you don't tip backwards. But with whatever degree of mobility that you do have, just spend a little bit of time sitting into this position and playing with different foot placements to see where your tightnesses are. Another thing you can do is use your elbow to drive your hip out, your knee out, which will give you a little bit more of external hip rotation, and you'll be able to sit into this a little bit deeper. So back into the tool stance, I'm going to go into a windmill. So with keeping the legs locked, we're going to reach over with one hand, the opposite hand, and then point the other hand up towards the sky, and if you can, reach all the way around beyond that too. Make sure you're always following it with your eye as well. From here we're just going to go into a nice deep squat. So using the elbows to drive those knees out, get a little bit more external rotation and sit nice and deep into this. So we're going to go into some thoracic rotations, something I really struggle with, especially on that side there. Look at that. Wow. So grab the inside of your ankle with one arm, and then point to the sky with the other as you follow it with your eyes. Really use that hand on the ankle to pull you round. If you can point past the sky and back the other way, that's great. Really try and get as much rotation with these as possible. So we're going back into a heavy hang with heavy head and heavy arms, and then from here just open up like a gate with using your elbows either side, which will stretch either side of your lower back, just either side of your spine. From here we're going into another quad stretch, so essentially you're getting on your hands with your feet behind you and then trying to push your hips through. Really try and tuck your tail between your legs on this one, and if you can, keep your hands placed on the floor back behind you, and you'll feel a stretch across your upper chest. This will depend on your flexibility, so for some people this may be really easy, for others it may be quite tricky, so just take it at your own pace. From this position we're going to place our left foot onto our right knee, and then try and press our chest in towards our shin. So you should feel this all through the left glute. So we're switching sides now, right leg on top of left knee, and then big deep breath in through the nose, and as you exhale through the mouth you should be able to drive your chest towards that knee. As you can see here, I'm actually using my left arm to pull myself a little bit further into that stretch, just to sort of intensify that stretch on the right glute. So now we're going to go feet out in front, toes up towards the sky, big deep breath in through the nose. Imagine you've got a balloon lifting you from your head, and then we're going to fold over, hinging from the hips, your whole torso just folding down towards your feet. If you can reach your feet or your legs, you can give yourself a little bit of assistance to pull yourself a little bit further into that stretch. So to assist with this stretch a little bit more, we're going to use the PNF technique again. So set up into a glute bridge where your feet are flat on the floor. You can almost touch them with your fingertips, but not quite. Then we're going to drive hips to the sky and pull our feet back towards our shoulders as hard as possible. Really contract hard for about 5 seconds, and then we're going to go back into the stretch. Remember to inhale through your nose, and nice deep slow exhale as you pull your chest towards your knees. So just one more final downwards and upwards dog, just to finish off. This one should be your best one so far. Heels all the way to the floor, knees completely straight, driving chest towards through the knees. And then same again into upward dog, driving those hips into the floor, keeping those shoulders down and far away from my ears. think I forgot I was videoing at this point, just sort of taking in the view. But just to finish, I tend to have a little go at a handstand, so this is a fun little way to finish. You can try a headstand or a handstand. Still learning with that one, not quite there yet, but areas for future improvement. So that's it for this session. I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you for getting involved.